Stash 720 is a fast investing stock market game where you use power cards to make smart investments and stop your opponents making theirs. It's got all the excitement of blackjack. I know I spent a lot of time when I was younger playing blackjack in the common room or at school. And I think Stash 720 surpasses that, or at least the feeling of playing blackjack anyway. This is a game of risk and reward. You get to understand financial terms. It lasts around 15 minutes each game. And it helps broaden your knowledge of the stock market. I want everyone around me to be financially literate and to be an investor and not just a consumer. And I think this game helps with that. I'd love you to check it out. Stash720.com. All right, cool. So first thing I just want to ask you is about yourself, man. Tell me a bit about you. Where'd you come from? Where were you born?
Born in London via Sierra Leone. My parents.
Okay.
Came from
your parents were born in Sierra Leone?
Both born in Sierra Leone. Freetown.
Okay. Freetown. It's like that.
I mean, it's not to nobody. It's like a population of like 6 million.
Okay.
Yeah, they made the trip here for a better life, you know. Find that the streets are supposed to be paved with gold. And
what type of age were they? What kind of age were they when they came over? Do you know?
Literally just before I was born, so 36 years ago.
Yeah.
That puts them at early 20s.
Okay.
Yeah. So
did they have people here? Where there's family here, or they were just like, oh, we're just gonna try a thing in London?
To be honest, I'm not sure about the timeline. We had, like when I was growing up, we had family here.
Okay.
I don't know who came first or whatever, but
there was people around.
Oh no. You know, we had family here. We had definitely had my dad's uncle, so my grand uncle, Uncle Joe was here because he supported them a lot. Like sort of paved their way for them when they came. You know what I mean, staying in people's houses and stuff like that. Yeah, you know, this typical immigrant sort of dream, better life. Then you meet unexpected racism and being overqualified for your cleaning jobs.
Oh, isn't it mad?
But I think that was the premise. I think the premise was they was highly educated and they were going to come here and like smash it.
Yeah.
But you know,
but it wasn't like that. What were they doing? Alright, cool. So you have a family from Sierra Leone. Do you visit there often? Is that a big part of your culture?
Some part of my life is almost every year. So obviously the last couple of years is very different. But yeah, it's a big part of my culture. I always think like I lived in East London, but I was raised in a Sierra Leonean house. Yeah. 100%. So it's like two different worlds almost, like two different languages, the language at home and the language out there in school and the estate, this, that, and so so at the same time I'm like almost like two different people sometimes at different points in life, because you know African households like mad strict.
Yeah, 100.
And you get that freedom, you go outside and like, wild out a little bit or a lot, depending on what.
Do you ever see yourself going back?
Back to where?
To Sierra Leone, to like live and just pack up and say, yeah, boom, I'm gone. I'm done.
Yeah, at some point. That's definitely going to happen. Yeah. Like, that's going to be more of a base. Yeah. Like, I see myself traveling a lot in the future. Like, I like traveling. But in terms of like a place to settle, as an older person, for sure, like, there's no way it's going to be here. Like,
yeah, I get it.
There's no one going to subject myself to that.
I get it. Yeah, I understand.
The quality of life is so much higher. I was saying before, like, they moved there for a better life. But you don't recognize until you go there and live here. Obviously, having that duality and seen both places, the better life meant money for them.
So, what job did they do when they left, and what job did they do when they got here?
Well, when they left, they were largely students.
Okay, studying. Do you know?
I can't remember what my mum said about. I know my dad did math-based subjects because that's where we aligned. Okay. Like into math and he's into math. they had a little bit of a journey. So they studied a lot in Sierra Leone. They actually went to Nigeria first to study, and then came here. Because back then, education was cool.
It was everything. Like it was everything.
It was everything, but it was the standard was cool in West Africa. It was known to be good. In fact, a lot of my uncles and aunts got like say scholarships and stuff. To move over. And use their skills. Not just here, to the US as well. So in terms of what they studied, I'm not too sure exactly what my mum studied, but when they came here, like their experience found that they were more qualified in the jobs they were willing to give, more than what was advertised to them while they were there. Obviously, British colony as well.
So did you have that kind of streets are paved with gold? Like go there and it'll be a better life. Was that sold to you by society or news, or you would be probably young?
That was sold to my parents.
Yeah.
But we didn't live in the estate we lived on. The estates we lived on wasn't paved with gold at all.
Of course.
It's like you're thrown in at the bottom.
Yeah.
Although my parents didn't behave like they were at the bottom, you know what I mean? Like they're always striving to sort of get out, and obviously education is the big thing. Like in terms of background, my parents were really good. Like when I figure what they had and what they did with it, like they did a great job. Like from here to there, like it together. It's like
because it's like survival mode, isn't it? When your parents like get here and they haven't got nothing, and you know, they're just trying to get you to survive. Like they got to get past all these barriers, and I think, well, for me personally, I kind of take for granted some of the stuff that I have because I didn't have to do them barriers. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have to, and sometimes I'm like, oh, why did I even go to school? Because like, I don't even need school, but you know, for the generation, my mom's generation, school was everything. They sold that to us, like school's everything.
That's what they were told. That was a bug. And to be honest, they did a good job.
Yeah, and I'm happy I went to school. Do you know what I mean? Like I went to school and I'm happy about that. You know?
I always think the most miraculous thing that my parents did was not let us know that we were broke.
It took me a long time to find out before I was broke.
Yeah. You know, it took me. I remember I went to Stephen. I was gonna say his surname. I won't do that. Put him on blast. But I remember I went to a friend Stephen's house, and he had everything that me and my brother looked in the Argos catalog for. Like we used to do this thing where we'd go Index. It was Index before Argos. So it was Index.
Big off one.
Big catalog, and we'd go through it. Like we want that. And for me, it was Skeletrix. Like I want Skeletrix.
Skeletrix was hard.
And it was like, and we couldn't get it. I didn't know that we couldn't afford it, but there was good reasons around why we couldn't get it. You know what I mean? And we could afford some stuff like Christmas, birthdays, blah blah. Which I got fleeced out because I'm born at Christmas. I got the big one.
Yeah, that's so dead for you.
It's terrible.
Forget, man.
It took me so many years to realize that I wasn't getting a big one. I was just getting one. My siblings were getting two. But hopefully, you know, my parents got a mortgage, so hopefully my pennies contributed to that extra gift and stuff. Look at the bright side.
Born on the 25th.
Yeah. But that's what made me realize, like, later on in life, when you think back and you go, yeah, we were broke, you know what I mean? But in saying that, when you're broke, you don't have, it's not like, if you've got good parents, I don't know about all parents, but I thought my parents were good in that regard. We had more life, if that made sense. Right. Okay. So we were sort of the house where everyone wanted to come to. Where like cousins and friends would like hide under our bed so they have to go home with their parents.
Yeah, that's dope.
And like, when I'd go and see what they had, I'd be like, why do you want to stay at our house? Because I'm thinking like, I want those things. Right. But they wanted the environment. Right. You know what I mean? Like, whether it's just playing or wrestling or doing this or doing that. Yeah, and eventually we got a SNES. Right. You know what I mean? And that became sort of a thing, but it was like the house where people want to stay, want to be. So that was better than money, you know?
That's pretty cool. So what do you do now? What do you do for yourself? What do you do for a living?
Working or run a shipping company. It's our family business. Okay. So my dad started that in 91. And it's been in existence in different phases until now. Okay.
How long have you worked there? It's been like 10 years? 11, 12?
From 2009. Okay. Really? Like, really?
Probably working.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So that's about 13 years, right?
Well, to be honest, I'll say 30 years, really. Because
your whole life.
From when it started, you pitch in. As a family business, you sort of pitch in. Course. So, like...
Yeah, especially a smaller business.
Like, I didn't realise. I was just to say, like, good at maths and basketball. Never considered that good at like the shipping business because it's just what we did.
Yeah.
You know, in small stages, obviously when I'm 5, I'm not doing anything really, but I'm there, it's taking it in. And then all of a sudden, like you're packing this box and then you're like moving stuff. And then it's like, oh damn, like Trevor's got 6-pack of muscles. He can carry some stuff.
He can
like,
do some work.
You can have a teenager like with all the sports and home punishments help me to get strong enough to like actually be in. And then all of a sudden, like I'm leading people because I know the business. Like, it's not like people that come to work that are like several years older than me. They're like relying on me for what to do.
Right.
And I'm like, you don't realize, but this is just naturally happening. Right. Because you, as a kid, just picking it up, just what you do.
But you're kind of like that anyway. Do you feel like that's like part of your character? I've seen that as part of your character. Like you have a natural leader instinct, kind of, for people to kind of come to you and say, "Oh, you know, should you be doing this?"
I don't know. Though. I'm more. I want to get stuff done. So if the so yeah, that helps. But that probably comes from those experiences. To be honest, not just shipping companies. My mom used to run a youth and childcare place. Okay. So I split time with there too. So like in terms of that knowledge, those two businesses I knew like the back of my hand. Right. So like I remember there's people that were senior to me that would I was basically doing their job. Right. Like in both of those fields. But yeah, I think that's one of the things that comes from the upbringing as well, like the initiative, the freedom. Some of it might be just natural personality, but some of it is they gave me the freedom to do these things. Okay. Or I showed some proficiency and they were like, you know, you can do it, so you go and do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, actually, I was going to say something that gave me a job, but maybe give my pressure, but it's been years. Okay. But like, there's a time I bumped into somebody from my childhood and they were like, "Oh man, how you doing? Blah blah, yeah." And I was like, "Yeah, you know, I was talking about my kids and this that," and it's all about yeah, feeling old and whatever. Like yeah, like I think I was 30 at the time. I was like, "I'm 30," and this guy was like, "You're 30?" He was like, "I'm older than you." I was like, "Yeah, I guess so." And he was like, "You looked after me at the youth club." The youth center. He was like, "No, I fully thought you were older than all of us." Yeah. Like, no, I was just...
That's just what it is. I was the leader. So you're 35 now, you said?
Yeah, 35. No,
35. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's...
So it's just like weird things like that. I just think, yeah, actually, I shouldn't have been looking after you.
Well, that's it. But that's what it is. Sometimes you just move into those roles, you know what I mean? Sometimes. And
yeah, I guess naturally I sort of take things over, which I try not to do in, you know, things that don't belong to me because you've got too many pies. But naturally I want to see a good job done.
Of course. But people want leaders. And I'm slowly realising people really want to be led. They want to give the responsibility over to someone else. And it's just easier to say, "Oh, well, that guy's doing good," or "That guy seems good. I'll just listen to what he says."
Yeah, it definitely happens, but that gets someone like me in trouble. Yeah, like I don't want to. Like, you get stretched too thin. Like,
of course, people always want kings. So what did you dream as a kid? What did you want to do as a kid? You said you're good at maths and basketball. Are they the things you wanted to do, or like what?
Well, as a kid, I thought I would play football.
Okay.
Like, basketball was something that, you know, like you're. Again, sort of naturally basketball is like you're good at something because you're around it. Right. Like, I might have been the only kid. Like, when my brother's playing basketball at the courts, I was the only... He's 5 years older than me, by the way. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not playing with my friends, I'm playing with his friends.
Right. Playing with the older lot.
Like, none of those... They weren't out at that time. Like, when he was 10 and I'm 5, no other 5-year-olds are out. Like, you go with your brother sort of thing, wherever he goes. So I was just following. So, like, babysitting. He didn't even take... I didn't know. When I was younger, I thought he loved basketball. He was into it. Like, nah, he was just doing basketball to play basketball. You know, like, something that happened at school, and then, you know, if you can play a little bit, you play it outside. So by the time I realized like I was good is when I went to secondary school. Okay. Because everybody was trash.
And wait, you went in East London? Did you go to school in East London?
Yeah, I went to Barking Abbey.
Okay, so then
that was a sports school or whatever. So
you start to know at that level. Well, for me as well, like secondary, you start seeing who's good and there's not a lot because the culture isn't big on basketball here. There's a small select group of people that can play. Like, do you know what I mean? You're either tall or you can play, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what it was. It's like basically because basketball's not the default sport here. people find it at like 13 years old.
Yeah.
So if you've been playing, even if I wasn't that good, I was just better than people because I've been playing.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, well, there's no team at year 7, so you play with year 8s, year 9s, and every year that I was sort of pushed up, I was still okay.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, all right, cool. Like, and at some point, like, I think my first coach's name was Kendrick. He would say stuff that would like make me think like, you got to work on this, you got to do that sort of thing, and then like see the way he carries himself and whatnot. Yeah, and then as you go, you start to realize you're actually, you know, you're playing with basically men in sixth form.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's what it's like as a kid. Yeah, as a kid, it's like that, right? Sixth form, and you got to quite a high level. Like, what level did you get to when you played?
I played in the States, played high school, a little bit of college, and then back university, and then.
Do you usually get paid? There was like the idea of semi-pro. What was the? Is that
pro? I've been paid to play basketball.
Okay, so that's pro. That's professional.
With his knees, yeah. That is,
yeah. I guess you get paid to play a sport. That's professional. That's
what that means. But you know, you're only a pro when you got a contract.
Yes. Did you ever have a contract at any point?
Yeah. But
okay.
With these knees, I don't. So
okay, cool. So you're saying that the knee injury is the reason why you don't play anymore?
Yeah, knee injury, age, passed me by. You know what I mean? Like you gotta get real at some point. Like when I got involved with a business, it's like at some point you're making more. You have the potential to make more. You have to make a real life decision. You can't go, yeah, my dream was my.
But back to my question. The original question was, was that your dream? Did you have a dream to be like, oh, I wanted basketball or maths, or was that ever your dream, or was it just like, I'm here now and I'm good?
I want to say it was my dream, but it wasn't. It was more like it became a dream. Like it became realistic. It wasn't realistic. Like I don't know who in East London at that time anyway could play basketball and look around you in the environment and think you can go anywhere. Like,
it's difficult to see. Like
it's not there. You know,
it's not just there.
No one was there. Like you know football players. I remember like in the Newham area was popping about. Like I think Jermaine Defoe was a guy. Who was like you could actually see in real life, and he played football. Like you think, like even I think I saw him at the barbershop once. I was like, he's like someone was like, oh, he signed for whoever he signed for, and I was like, oh, really?
Yeah, it's real. Like it happens. It happens.
No, not to be disrespectful.
No, of course.
Like, he's a guy around.
He's just
like,
there. Yeah.
I've seen him before playing football. Someone else, like, it's older than me. I was like, oh, right, cool. Like that's. But you never think like you could. And then like with basketball, like the only thing was the NBA, and that's like all the way over there somewhere. Like,
unless I guess you're thinking of America. If that was your dream, and you're like, I'm going to America, then you're kind of looking at those guys. But for here, like, I've never.
For here, I mean,
I've never seen it.
Like I was put on that the leagues were better and more televised just before me. So I didn't see basketball in England like that. Like the people I saw for basketball in England, they weren't perfect. Now I think about it, some of them were probably good enough, but they weren't being paid to play basketball. That's like going to like, I don't know if you know, like Rough and Ready and stuff like that. No. They were the best and they were heroes. And I would watch them and be like, ooh, like, I remember one guy, Damien, who I ended up like playing with scrimmage and stuff with, like, and I really wanted to go at him when I saw him because, you know, like, but I remember like my brother it was in Brixton. My brother was playing there. And I see this guy and he was the closest thing to Kobe. Like he was leaning in like,
yeah.
And then you know, I go to I think I must have bucked up a scrimmage or something, and I was just trying to go at him every single time because I was like, this is the guy. Like that was my Kobe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the mark. That's what you got to hit. Like, that's what you got. Yeah.
Like it was like that was the mark. So I couldn't see beyond that because I didn't know beyond that. Like the 3,000 mile trip wasn't like they was over there doing what they were doing, and like the guys around me were really balling. Like I mean, to be honest, I thought it was like when I actually that got us talking because he was like, yeah, why'd you keep trying to dunk on me, man? I mean, I remember he said that he was dropping me home in his car. Yeah. Like after giving me some game tape, which was really nice of him. He's dropping up, so he's like, yeah, man, why'd you keep trying to dunk on me, man? And I was like, yes. Yeah. Like, in my heart.
Yeah.
Like,
he knows. He knows.
Like, he saw me, man. Like he saw me. Cause like before that, it was like no one was like even trying to acknowledge anything. Like, obviously, like that was for me. That was him saying, "Yeah,
you're doing your thing.
You're doing your thing." Like, someone that's been doing their thing for like all of my memorable childhood sort of thing.
Yeah, I get it.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
And so, what was your like first job? What type of first job did you have? Do you remember your first job, or was you straight for the company? Did you just work straight for the?
I ain't had a job.
You never had a job.
Just
So what was you? What did you do? When was the first time you got a paycheck or like a?
To be honest, I've always been a seller and a doer. If that makes sense, like, I can't like. Obviously, my first job was working for a family business. Like working with my mum in the childcare company, working with my dad. Just talked to him about that earlier actually. Like going with jobs, and then you get like a £10 here, £20 here, essentially for being there, not doing much work.
Of course.
But
taking part.
Taking part. Some of it was tough work, to be honest. But I think some of that was given because I didn't shy away from the work.
Right.
Like I did what I could do, and then I get laughed at while I was struggling with a heavy box, but I tried. You know what I mean? In terms of like actual job, I'm trying to think. I ain't got a CV.
So what did the timeline? Show me the timeline for your now. Let's kind of go backwards. So now you run the shipping company, right?
Yeah.
Right. So and when you were younger, you working with your mum and what have you. So fill in the gaps in between.
So working with my mum, and then at some point, someone goes, "Hey, do you want to go to America to play basketball?"
Say again. Do you want to?
So some point, someone goes, "Hey, you want to go to America to play basketball?" Someone goes, whatever you do, you got to finish GCSEs and A levels.
Okay. So that was young. So you're taking about 16, 15 or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that.
Yep.
So the first year I didn't go because you have to. That's finish.
Of course.
GCSEs.
Yeah, but that's a given.
And then when I went, I had to finish A levels as well. While I was away.
Okay. Why you in the States?
Yeah. So
okay.
Double work.
Oh man.
That was the other thing that was going to get me gone. It's playing football to do something, and I thought that would be the thing, and then there was a coach called Jose that came to East London Royals games, and he was like, "Yeah, you want to go play over in New Jersey?" I was like, "Oh, cool." They didn't want the team that I was going to go to didn't want me, actually, and Phoney did, and then when I got there, it was like, "Yeah, we just got another point guard."
So you playing point as well?
Yeah,
interesting.
Well, actually, I wanted to play shooting guard, but
okay.
I'd play at that point. I'd play anywhere until I could get to do what I wanted to do. I didn't realize how small I was.
So I was gonna say, yeah. So you're probably one of the smallest, even though you're obviously. So how tall are you?
6'3" now. But
yeah, which is tall.
at the time I wasn't 6'3", of course, but also the game was different. Like you got like 6'3" shooters like Steph Curry who are bonafide shooting guards. Also played the point too, and the point position was different. The point was more finding people, reads, and
right.
Drive and kick. It wasn't more about getting your own bucket.
Right. Game has changed.
The game has changed, yeah. I was more about getting my own bucket.
Yeah.
And that was seen as a shooting guard.
Right.
I think like AI might have changed it. AI was like shooting guard, point guard.
Yeah.
And like every guard is expected to shoot. Every point guard is expected to shoot. So yeah, it's like at that point, like I went to the US. It's like, okay, well, football's done because this is like the US. Like,
yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, of course. So it must be excited. Like this is what you feel. So, and you weren't you where you were living? Like you living in like a student place or? When
I went to Philly, I didn't. So guy just didn't want me. Came home, blah blah. And he was like, guy called George, who was like really good to me for that summer. Said, there's another opportunity in Philadelphia. Went there. It was all good. Stay with a coach. It wasn't the best year. It wasn't the best year and a half. It wasn't the best year and a half. Childish coaches. But it was a great experience, like to play. So yeah, did my thing in the States. Caught the broken knee. I can't remember which leg it is. So many surgeries. I think it might be the left one. Yeah. First. Then it was like sit around, full leg cast, or come home. I was like, yeah, I'm going home. It's like, so I'm not
going to sit there.
Yeah. And it's also like it costs money to be there.
Okay.
And the initial prognosis was I wouldn't play.
So when it was costing, who bill was that? Was you? You're paying for your stay there and what have you? Or
I don't know. I didn't pay for anything.
Young, I guess. Yeah. So.
I didn't pay for anything.
Okay.
But yeah, it's come back. The initial thought was like, okay, well, you're not gonna play it again. But my attitude was always like, fuck no, F no. So went from the skinny leg, rehab, kept playing, and eventually was like, okay, like maybe the doctor was lying. Now maybe the doctor didn't know what he's talking about. Like, because I just took it as if I'm not going to play, I'm going to give the best shot of being close to healthy. I'm not going to be a crooked 20-something year old.
Right.
So it's like each step. I was like, do each step, do all the rehab, make sure I do it. Like the silly boring stuff, like sitting there and being able to kind of lift my leg up in the air. I'm sure the camera can't see.
It's fine.
But yeah, I lift my leg up in the air, and that's like several months, you know. But I guess in that sense, like I'm wired different. So like I was out there jogging on my crutches. Like I'm actually
Trying to do something. Yeah,
trying to. This is one of these where you won't see me in an office job. Like,
right.
Although I get through school,
So how were you in school then? How was school for you?
School
secondary when I'm saying sex. We're talking about secondary school.
Uni, sport is the only relief.
Right.
Sport is like, because
what did you study at school, like secondary school? Were you do obviously maths, English, science, all the rest of that stuff? Did you do PE?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, you did. So you did PE, drama, art.
I did actually
double science.
I did all those things.
There you go.
Actually did all those things.
Okay.
It's funny you said
Okay. Yeah.
that. Trying to think what else I did.
Music.
I didn't do music. I don't think I did music.
Food tech. We used to do food tech.
I had to mix in some serious subjects with it because my parents know who they are.
Serious? What does that mean? But serious to them.
Like, serious to them, yeah. And also serious to me.
But what's you can't define serious? Like, is they all serious.
Okay, well, serious point to society because like nobody says, hey, go and do drama.
Yeah, 100%. Like, even though the highest paid people are actors and what have you, but no one says like, do that.
No one says that. People say go be a doctor, lawyer, and all this.
Because it's a 1 in a million like shot for.
In fact, lawyer would be my first. Lawyer would have been my first job. It wasn't a real job, just an intern, like trying it out, like in the summertime.
Oh, so you worked just law firm? You just clerk stuff?
Yeah. Just helped out. Took stuff to courts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
that's cool.
Helped out, move some files.
Yeah, that's cool.
Figured out that wasn't for me.
Okay.
Although later on in life, some people have been like, you would have been a good lawyer. Okay. Yeah.
So what did you? It's interesting. So what did you? How was school for you? Because you said it was your outlet to play sport, but how were you in the classroom? How were you grades? How were you with teacher interaction?
Grades wise, I was bright. Teacher interactions, I must admit, I figured out quite early in secondary school. I didn't have to amuse the lower teachers.
Okay.
I was really cool with
That's interesting.
higher ups.
So that means you understood the hierarchy
quite
early.
Start to understand that, and then it was just more just like nothing crazy, just being friendly with them. I remember I'd speak to the head of years, head of buildings, as they call it, because we had upper school and lower schools.
We had that as well.
Just talk about sometimes, like I remember, like sometimes someone would just in the end, someone would just stop me. I remember the head of upper school would stop me and talk about his breakfast meeting where they were getting funding and this, that, blah, blah, blah. And it made me late for class.
Yeah.
My friend was with me.
Yeah.
And that I went through that. We were just talking, blah, blah. And then he took me to the class to make sure I wasn't in trouble.
Right. Yeah, so it was with me.
And then like my friend was like, why did he talk to you like that? I was like, I don't know, we're just cool. Like it wasn't manipulative, it wasn't on purpose, it just sort of figured it out, you know what I mean? Like, and then if I get kicked out of class, I'd go to the head teacher's office, play lemons or something.
Yeah, but that's interesting. You used to get kicked out, but your grades were good though, right? You got good grades.
Grades were good, but I was a boy. Like I was like.
So that's the thing. I didn't get that. My grades were bad, and I got smart mouth, so it's like.
See, the thing is, I
got treated different.
I had a smart mouth that got me in trouble, but the grades kept me in school.
That's what I'm saying. The grades are good.
So like at times where I was going to be kicked out for dumb behavior, it was like, but he's a bright boy.
Yeah, it's hard to kick you out.
Like
I didn't get that.
And sport, I think sports helps because it's a sports college maybe.
Right.
But really, it was just the like my run-ins with teachers was crazy. Like I wasn't trying to hear enough, but also I came from an area where I wasn't intimidated.
Yeah.
Like I remember the first teacher that squared up to me. I'm gonna put him on blast, Mr. Hawkins.
But hilarious.
10 years old.
Squared up to you though.
squared up to me.
Are
10
you
years
okay?
old.
Like what? Like are you okay? What did you think was gonna happen? Like what's?
I don't know, but I remember just standing looking at him like, if he hits me, I'm gonna hit him. Like that's what happens on the estate. That's what happens. Like there was no differentiation between him.
But why would it be? Like why would you
like I
hit a
guess
student?
now I know
It's crazy.
he broke the line. Like,
But yeah, exactly. But maybe he just wanted to do that to break you,
to intimidate me.
Yeah, to make you go, oh, you're down. Like,
But that's sort of the thing. He never did that again. Never got close to doing that again. But that's the thing. Like, you survive in their state. You survive beating guys like that.
So you understood about the hierarchy of teachers quite early, and you said a teacher squared up to you.
Yeah, that's primary school.
Primary school.
Yeah.
So I was secondary. You know when you start getting these 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds, when they start getting bigger.
That's what I thought about it, because in secondary school, I don't think a teacher would have dared to do that, to be honest. And also, I was more savvy by then. Like there was, like more like early secondary school and primary school times. It was more about being aggy because fights happened every day in the estate. I don't even know why anymore. Like just. So when he squared up to me, it was more like go on then.
Wait, what are you gonna do?
And then quite quickly realized, he just wants to, because like instinctively on this, that you know who
100%,
not about
100%, you know who wants to fight, like real quick.
The only thing that stopped me from hitting him first is that there's a general rule. Obviously, you respect teachers, but obviously me and my parents didn't talk about what happens when a teacher squares up to you.
It's mad. It's not really a conversation you normally have.
The only conversation we had was, because it happened with my brother, was if anybody hits you, you end the fight. Like that's it. Like there's no like they don't care. Like, we don't care if you, because my brother had like a racist. I won't go into every story where a kid was hitting him, blah blah, and he was told not to fight at all. He was just taking licks because he was listening to what he told at home, and eventually the school didn't do it. His mum was like, hit him.
Yeah, isn't it? Like,
and after that, the school like, now I want to deal with kids that fight outside of school because the white kid got hit, and got beat up basically. So that was a blanket rule. It was like, anyway, don't start the fight, but end it. For sure. So that's why when you like, I knew I knew at the time, like, you feel like you're under threat, but I'm calm. I'm like, if you touch me, it's on. And I remember exactly what it was for. Like I was playing with wasn't refract. What are they called? Damn it. The triangle thing for angle. You measure angles with.
Okay, not the protractor. The thingy. I know what you're talking about. The triangle thing.
Yes. I was playing with that with the sun, and I was putting it onto the blackboard at the time, and blah blah blah. It's like, I'm sure at some point I was trying to get in his eye too.
Yeah, of course. Of course, you're trying to do some madness.
Yeah. And to be honest, one of them was like, I'm doing it, and everybody's laughing.
Yeah.
And he takes him so long to clock. Like, he's told the whole class off for laughing several times. Yeah. And he figures out what I'm doing, and he flips. Like, get out. I didn't get out. Initially, I didn't get out. Like, I was just like laughing at him, almost like he's losing his S. Like, and when he like gets up and like sort of forcing me out without touching me, like squaring up, like, you think you're this, you think you're that, you think you're big, blah blah. And I'm like, this looks like
that's crazy.
This looks like what it looks like in with other kids on the estate, like older kids especially.
Yeah, he's having a bad day because like
it's having a terrible day. But it's one of them ones you can get away with as a teacher. So
yeah,
you got away with it. Like when I think about it, it's mad.
It's crazy.
Let someone square up to my 12-year-old.
It's crazy. Don't do that. Like,
it ain't happening.
No, it's no good. I'll square up to you. It's crazy. So you went to school, you did all right in school, you did quite well, and then you went to university. Is that right?
Yeah.
What university did you go to?
Marymount started, then came home and went to
America. Sorry.
Yeah, America.
Yeah, in America. You went to States. You did a year or 2 years?
2.
2 years. Okay, cool.
And then come back here.
Was you able to carry over your like marks or credit or anything like that, or did you just start again?
Yeah, but it's weird. I didn't give any transcripts. I went over to Queen Mary and I went over to LSE, and I was like, yeah, this is the situation. Like, I'm back. Like my leg, blah blah blah. And they were like, yeah, we'll take you.
Yeah, it's mad.
Like,
start first year again. And what was you studying?
Just almost tried to finish up. I didn't finish actually, but maths and economics.
You studied math and economics, cool. And you did that for a couple of years in the States, and how many years here?
Almost a year here.
Almost a year.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
I need to make money.
Okay, so you just dropped. Did you dropped out? You said it's long.
Yeah. I was like,
This is long.
that's it. I was looking at it and I thought, in fact, the year before, while I was like partly stiff leg, I went an intern somewhere, and was in accounts, and I was like, I don't like this. It was like waking up at 6, 7, which is cool for me. I used to wake up early anyway.
Yeah.
But then it was like working all day and then doing the socializing drinks thing, and then getting home at like 8, 9.
Yeah.
Only to go back to bed
Do
and
it
do it again.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I was already in the mentality, like, I'm not doing what they do. Like, I go on with people. Like, I felt like I could play the corporate game. Same way I played the school game.
Yeah.
Like, survive and got through it. I was like, I'm not doing that. So it came to a point where it's like, okay, what am I going to do? I have to do something. Like, I'm playing basketball at the time as well. So I was like, okay, well, I have to do something that fits around it. So I started like calling up schools and getting like coaching jobs, because I had coaching qualifications from secondary school days. Doing that, and then eventually I was like, okay, well, I've got a few schools, and this is kind of easy to get the work. That's like getting work from other people.
So was that like your initial first business that you did yourself? Because that's where we met. That's what kind of where we met.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So that was when I eventually got the office that we met at, Starting Point. Shout out Starting Point.
Shout out Starting Point. Barking.
Pickering Road. Yeah. That's about the time when it was like, okay, well, I can give jobs out. Like, it's not practical for me to do
all of them, obviously.
Like a few jobs. Like, to think what happened next. Oh, and then obviously I had that's not obvious, but I had a background of helping my mum and my uncle with funding bids.
Okay.
So I was like trying to raise funds and stuff for sporting projects and different things. Did a few couple projects with the police. But it sort of fell in my lap from another coach who was like not doing, like another senior coach who had been a coach since I was a basketball player. His name was Trevor as well. So shout out to him. Just fell in my lap, and then that was like another automatic project of like more income, and hire more coaches to do those jobs, to work in those things.
Right.
Around that time, he's like he was gonna be born.
Who's he?
He is my son. Who is
okay.
Who was in
off camera
somewhere off camera.
That's right. So yeah, your son is how old now?
12.
Okay, cool.
So I found out
That was 12 years ago.
he was gonna be born, and that was like, okay, well, at this stage, basketball's gonna be pretty much done. Like, I need real money.
Yeah.
But I also need, I don't know why, but I've always had a connection with kids. I like kids, regardless. I always thought, like, I also need to be there. So it was like, what can I do for the long term now? Like, let's grow up. Like, let's not.
So what made you think that? What made you think you wanted to be there? Was that any reflection on like how you were parented?
Oh yeah, for sure.
In what respect?
My dad works really hard. Like, hours wise as well, time wise.
Right.
And obviously, like I said, I appreciate what they did in terms of like letting us not feel broke and whatnot. But I also think some of the negative times in my life was because, like, in terms of like, behavior or doing things that I should have been doing, was because, like, I've got to believe that I've had this from very young.
You helped with fundraising.
Yeah, so I'd already helped with fundraising many years, almost every summer when I was working with the childcare stuff with my mum. Like, she had done that plenty of times. It was just, I didn't know I was learning, but I was learning obviously at the time. And obviously, again, this kind of thing, like, I just picked up, like, and then they're like, all right, run with it. Like, do this fund application, do that fund application. So yeah, so I do that with Infinity Sports was a business at the time.
Yep.
And then obviously my girlfriend at the time got pregnant. and I had to make like real choices. Like, okay, I was like, okay, basketball's gonna end soon. Like, I was already playing on house money with a knee. Like, I didn't feel any weight. I didn't feel bad. Like, I felt like I was back to like good level physically.
Right.
But I felt like if they told me I couldn't play, it's gonna be a smart move to have a backup for when this thing just blows up, explodes one day.
Yeah.
And it actually did, but I've recovered from that again.
Mad. So how many injuries? Like,
so the kneecap broke twice.
wow. Same one.
Same one.
Okay.
First one, the first one was an accident. My muscles ripped it apart. Blah, blah. And then I elected not to have invasive surgery.
Okay.
Because I'd never had surgery before.
Right.
That was my first major injury in life.
Yeah.
I think by then I was almost mid-20s. And I was like, so the second one that was when I was younger. So the second one, there's metal pieces in there, it's taped up, it's sealed in together.
Right.
And yeah, they were like, yeah, you probably shouldn't play. I did play again.
Of course. Of course.
It's survived since though.
Yeah.
I think I learned, what to do, keep it strong.
So what happened the second time? Why did it happen the second time?
Because the bones didn't necessarily fuse together, probably because they weren't bound with the surgery.
They just because you didn't elect the surgery, so you were just kind of hoping that it grew back together and
so they said it was so close that it could grow back together, but it might not be strong. They told me the risks. I was like, I'm happy with the risks. Like, obviously I didn't know truly what it was, but I didn't want it to get cut open. I didn't want to get put to sleep. I hate that stuff. So basically, when it grew together. It looked on the X-ray. It looked quite nice, but it turns out it was more like a fibrous bit. There was a gap essentially where the bone hadn't fully developed between the two bits. Right. It was just so the second time around, I just overworked my body. I played with young kids. I played a full match the day before. Played with young kids. Lifted weights. Then played one-on-one with who was supposed to be the other best young player at Barking Abbey.
Doing too much, sounds like.
Yeah, and it's like, each point I was like, I shouldn't do this. Hey, I lifted the weights I was at Barking Abbey just lifting weights. So, hey, do you want to scrimmage? I was like, okay.
Cool. You want to play? I want to play.
At first I was like, nah, I've got my plan. I should do it. Alright, cool.
Let's play.
Like, I'm a gamer at heart. I want to play more than I want to lift weights and run and stuff. And then we played, and then it got competitive, so I pushed myself. So go easy in the scrimmage with young guys. And then afterwards, the guy was like, "You want to play one-on-one?" Yeah, I heard you were good back in the day. I was like, "Back in the day, I'm good now. I just gave you some work." So it's the same thing. Like, I got to a point where I'm just easy buckets, and it got close. I let him get back into the game, and I was like, "I got to show this man." And I went to go dunk on him. And I went. So that was the end of my night, and the end of my next 5-6 months.
That's mad. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, cool. So then you did all that, and then so at what point on the timeline did you say you went completely into the family business? When did you put away the Infinity Sport?
It took a couple years.
And why did you stop? Or what stopped you? Was it just time to finish, or did you didn't like it, the business anymore? Or
well, in 2009 is when I decided I sat there and I reflected with myself. I was like my son was coming up, like he was about to be born soon. So I sat down and thought to myself, hey, like, where's the long-term potential? I had to make I love playing basketball. I actually love this Infinity Sports stuff. I was working with kids, and even though I was doing less of that, I was more in the office. I thought, you know what, okay, I'm not going to just drop people. So I'm going to spend time in the business. I'm going to spend time, I thought I'd be figuring it out because I didn't realize I knew the business. I thought I'd be figuring it out, and so I thought I'll spend time in the business here and there and start doing things while I was looking for the day that basketball would end and when I'd sort of phase Infinity Sports out. Luckily with Infinity Sports, it was quite easy. After about a year or two after that,
my toe just messed up. Hold on. So you're serious about the coach?
Huh?
Passing the coach, passing it over.
Yeah, so I passed it over to passed most of the jobs to the other coach. Some of the other funded stuff, and the police kind of just was like, all right, you're not going to do it? Cool, it's not happening no more. Which is just a bit sad, but it's like, okay. And also, by how I had it explained, this people that were funding stuff, like the Conservatives got in government and money just went downhill. So it's sort of a good time, in a way. Like, the funding was drying up for youths in inner cities especially, and like I needed to move on so I can get the jobs were away, and I felt from a perspective I did the right thing. And then like, basketball's going downhill. In fact, one of my last actual final was a few days before my son was born.
Okay.
So I was contemplating not going to that game so I can make sure I was there for the birth.
Right.
So I went. Luckily, you know, I was like, it would be fine, like family around. So I played the game, won the game, and then I think like 3 days later he was born.
Okay.
So it was cool.
Hey.
And after that, you know, a couple of years more playing, and then I was like, I'd been in the business, and I realized like, actually, no, I know the business. So it's more just like partnering with my dad and my mom at the time, before my dad left it and stuff. And my first thing I did was like, it was all, nothing was digital. So I went in there, I was like...
So when did your dad leave the business?
Probably like 2014.
2014. You there 2012, so 2014.
I was there from 2009. Like I said, I was doing bits.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it's...
Yeah, I was doing bits.
Right.
And I was like, the first thing I did, like I went in, I was like, this is weird. Like there's loads of paper everywhere. Yeah. So like you go to, like my dad was old school. Okay. My mom was a bit old school too, but like she didn't know any better. She just followed in that sense, in that area of this, she just followed what my dad did, and she dealt with more administrative stuff. Mm-hmm. I guess their strengths were in different areas. Like money and admin was her strength, sort of thing. Right. My dad was more like the ideas and running the business and stuff like that. The day-to-day operations, I would say. So the first thing I did was like, I looked at it, I was like, it's crazy, you can't have this much paper. So someone would call up and be like, hey, like I shipped on this date, but I can't remember the number of my invoice. Yeah, and you'll go to a file.
That's the afternoon work.
Like, yeah, it's be like
trying to find.
This is crazy. I was like, really? So I was like, okay, you know what? I can't really do much every day because I'm still doing stuff, but I'll just come and sort out this database situation. I'll build one. And he was like, cool. It was like, I asked about that once from someone. They charged me like £100,000 or something. It's not going to happen. And I was like, I could do it. Like, cause I built databases in school. Yeah. That's another thing. Like when I was in school, luckily, or maybe not unluckily, like for things I was interested in, like technology, like obviously it was like first generation had computers in our houses and the internet. Yeah. And I was on the computer like all night sometimes, like figuring stuff out, playing with stuff, building websites here and there, and you know, stuff like that. But then we did Access in school, and it was always like do a little crappy project. And instead of doing a little crappy project, it's weird, I don't know why, I just got really into it, and I built essentially a replica of the NBA's database. That's dope.
In what respect? Of their website, or like the players, or
all the players, all the games, linked. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The teams, the rosters. I put images in it which like crashed my computer.
Back when, back when they had no RAM, no
RAM was nothing. Like, it wasn't built. It definitely wasn't built for that. Yeah. It was. In fact, what let me know it was so good was a hate I got from the teacher. Huh. Because I put like loads of queries, like event queries, stuff like that. Things like that were like things would automatically delete when you did one thing. Like there's automation. Started learning that. Going into it, I started learning VBA, Visual Basic, for the back end and SQL, because that's how you do like custom things in it. So I was like, this ain't working. So going in there, like, how do I find, like, how do you do this?
That was always my trouble. That's good that you did that. Like, how do I do this? And do you know what I mean? And figure that out. That's
because I was interested. Like, if I don't like, only when I got older that I realized like I could just apply myself to things and do them well. If I didn't care about it, I didn't care about it. So you couldn't have me in a sociology class. I actually really like sociology things now, but if I decided I didn't care about it, you weren't going to have me in it and really apply myself. I was going to do enough to get through.
So how did the teacher hate, like, and it?
Oh, he was like, you didn't make this.
Oh, interesting.
It was our final project to get all the marks and blah blah blah, and I I was on it. And I didn't care about his approval. I didn't do it to. I just handed it in to hand it in.
Right.
Like when I bought because I liked it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Anyway, you didn't do this.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, I did.
That's
anyway,
mad.
All right, so how did you do this? And I went, oh, like this. And he spent about 20 minutes grilling me on different parts of the thing. And I was like, I was a bit confused. I was like, why wouldn't you be happy that I did this?
Yeah. That's
He
so
was saying
interesting.
like, you cheated. I was like,
Yeah,
that?
you can't do that. It's
like,
you can't do that.
It's
That's what
I
it
can't
is.
do that.
Because he can't do it.
Basically.
So it's like, so how do you do it?
When it came to it, I was like, I've really thought about it. You know, you don't. These are one of the things where you don't deep it at the time, but later on, you think about it. Like, that really like pissed me off. That guy was a cool teacher at first, and I didn't. After that, I didn't really mess with him at all.
Yeah, most of the guys are still cool. Like, do you know what I mean? But then there's always whatever chips on their shoulder, whatever their previous thing, what you might look like or come across to him, or how he sees other kids like you.
He knew I had some proficiency.
Do you know what I mean?
He knew because like my friend mainly, but me too. We'd hack the computers and stuff like that in school, and he'd know.
Yeah.
Like obviously, there's times when we were controlling his screen. Like he'll know. He'll come to the computer and like, God. But he'll know. You know what I mean? I'd be like, "Oh, you guys are hackers." Like like and he'd say it in laughing way, but we did nothing malicious. What we did, but no anyone knew that we did. You know what I mean? So in that sense, he was cool. Like so he knew. But and it's just for that particular project, he was like. Basically like, nah, you didn't do this, basically. And I spent 20 minutes like doing what I shouldn't have even had to do. Sure, I get you don't want anyone to cheat, but it's like, who would I cheat from?
Yeah, like what would I gain from this? But isn't
I would have gained the grade, but there was no one.
Oh, so because it was for the.
But no one was building stuff like that. Like literally, he knew all I did at that point was play basketball, like outside of anything else. And I just built this thing about the NBA. Like it wasn't like NBA, the NBA didn't use Access. Like, I didn't hack and steal the NBA's database. You know what I mean? Like no one else would give a damn about this.
But it's interesting the way that like hate is always, not always, but it can often be a marker of how well you're doing, which is mad, isn't it? Like you'd like to think that love would be the the marker of like, oh, you're doing well, like, and everyone's saying that you're doing well. It's like sometimes the adverse like effect shows you that, oh, you're obviously doing something because it means something to someone else. You know?
Yeah, that's tragic, but that's a lesson you learn that I learned. Yeah. I don't think I learned it on that day, but you know, when you reflect, you think, yeah, enough of those experiences, you think, yeah, I'm doing all right. Like even like when I like it's like this, that is no different to when I get stopped. When I used to get stopped by the police all the time, and they go, how'd you afford this car? Yeah. And like initially I was like almost like what the F sort of thing. Like,
it's a mad question. Like how do you afford this car? The same way anyone else affords a car. You like, you pay for it. Like I don't understand.
Like I remember when one of my first was like drug money, right? That's what you want to hear? Oh, be careful, lad. If you said like that could lead to other things, I'd be like, cool, like whatever. Like you know, like when you've been stopped enough times, that becomes a frustration. Like, and I think later on, like hotheadness could have got me arrested. Yeah, for sure. Like just to prove a point. You know what I mean? Like they had whatever right to search me and this that. Yeah. I had one. Another officer told me that could be a ringer. Like I was like, because you can't afford the car.
Says more about them than it does about
you.
you.
It does. It does in the end.
That's what it
does in the end. But you know, it reflects. It's not what you want to hear, sort of. But that's the same sort of. That let me know. I was like, hey, like, actually, it's funny you said that because after that I looked up police officer salaries. I was like, I'm in one police officer. I'm happy.
You're good. All right. Would you ever help one of your siblings like in a financial situation? Is that something that you would do?
Yes.
And how far would that go?
As far as I can afford to lose.
I guess good answer. Do your parents pay any of your current bills?
No.
Okay. And would you like your kids to go public or private school? They're currently in public school.
Public school.
Okay.
I thought public school would have been a good idea, but my cousin, went to private school. And that was a racial integrated nightmare, so that took that off the table.
That's interesting. But that was just her experience, her isolated experience? Or were you thinking to go to that school?
No, well, she went to a girls' school.
Okay.
That wasn't wasn't. I don't think it was an isolated experience because I've spoken to other people since then. I went to private school. Obviously, the educational part, the access part, the potential doors that are open. But our background's a bit different. So we've had racial incidents with my son, and that made me think, nah.
Okay.
Like, of course, if he wanted to, but my advice would be like, you got to be wary of that part being pervasive, because in this culture, to be honest, like, let me put it frank, what whiteness doesn't understand, it doesn't appreciate. So it's all good being super educated, but if your self-esteem is dead at the end,
yeah, was it worth it?
I'd rather have a confident kid that could do well than one that was gonna try and knock down white doors.
So interesting, isn't it? That is a big part. Like, self-confidence is just a big part of everything. Like you said, more than like education. You know, if the child is if they're motivated to do a thing, they're going to be able to do a thing.
Yeah.
Whatever that thing is, they'll be able to. But and self-esteem is a big thing in school as well, because that's when you kind of learn it. You learn about yourself.
If the people you're gonna, this happens in public school too, by the way, a lot. But the difference is the people you're around are also like you, and you're more likely to have teachers who are also like you. Okay. In this area anyway, in the city of London anyway, there's a much higher chance that the percentage aren't anywhere near the same.
It's weird because I went to school in what you call the suburbs, still East London, but I went to school in suburbs like Woodford, South Woodford, which is a suburb. It's East London, but it's a suburb, and there wasn't a lot of teachers like me, and and that was, it's weird. It was a negative experience, but it's weird because I think because I had charm, that they were okay with me, like he's fine, it's whatever. Yeah. But I wasn't. But at the same time, I slipped through the net. Like, and there was, I wasn't taught.
That's the thing.
I wasn't taught anything.
But that's the thing. They're okay with you just being. But were they okay with you shining? Did they, or did they even want you to shine? Did they want you to?
But it was negative stuff. To like, I wasn't. It was like, oh, what do you want to do when you go older? I want to be a pilot. No, you should pick this. Like, it's that stuff. Like,
yeah, that's a crazy thing to say to a child.
Yeah,
like, you can't do something.
That's mad to a child. You can't do this.
You can't do. Well,
why not?
The crazy thing to say to a child that you can't do something that another human being has done before.
Right. But you can't do it. Because
like, you in particular, like, and people go, well, how do you know it's race? Like, it's not always race, but there's consistent stories of
100%. But it almost doesn't even matter. The fact that you said no. If a kid says he wants to do something, say, cool, you're going to need this. Go do it.
Yeah.
That's the answer. Like,
in general, for most things, the only
do the
thing that stops you from doing something is what you refuse to do or you're not willing to do.
Right.
Like, what's stopping you from being an air pilot? Absolutely nothing. You could, at this stage in your life now, you could go for
zero. I could do that.
So willing to do the hours necessary. You know, you might have to need an aptitude for it, but you go forward and do it, and you realize sooner or later whether it's for you or not.
Whether you want to do it or not.
But there's no reason not to tell anyone. Like what I mean, they also don't say what you should. Sometimes they do say what you should be, but I found school work counselors, or whatever they're called, the ones that were helping with your choices.
Yeah.
It's like they said, like I sat there and I heard them, and I was like, "You could do this." I was like, "I'm doing none of that." Bye. Like that's. It's funny. At that stage, I remember being told that. I was like, "Oh, what are you gonna do?" I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna play basketball." They're like, "No, what are you actually gonna do?" I was like, "No, I'm actually gonna play basketball for money, like tomorrow." I'm like, and they looked at me like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Why were you in that job?"
It's mad, isn't it? It's like, yeah, you shouldn't really be in that job if you, I don't know, because it's all of their limiting beliefs put on you. It's like, this is what I'm able to do, or this is what I've seen people do, so there's no way you can do this, I
think the worst thing is that it's not, like when I looked at it, it's not her, but she knew nothing about the basketball industry, about basketball. She knew nothing about sports. like she was saying, like you in particular can't do that.
Yeah.
Like I would love that conversation was more like, because of your grades you can't do X.
Yeah,
Like,
that makes more sense.
Like, especially at GCSE level, because like sometimes, yeah, okay, if you're
That
doing
makes
all
more
the
sense.
foundation papers, like not something like experience, but if you're doing all the foundation papers, you're not at that point going to be a doctor,
Right?
because of the way the table's been set.
Right.
Not in the immediate term anyway. You'd have to go and you could be a doctor.
But that's it. But then there's a reason for it. Then you say,
Yeah,
you
you
have
say,
to do this, this, and this, and you're not doing this at the moment. If you want to do this, you have to get these grades. Do you mean? And that's understandable. Like,
So I can't even remember what she recommended. She gave me some flashcards, and I was like, I couldn't put them in the bin quick enough. I was like, you knew nothing about me. We didn't have much of a conversation.
Yeah.
It's not like, what did you like? So what do you want to be? Oh no, let me go get some things over there. Like, you can be this.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like it's like. I think one of the things she said was like, you could be a coach. I was like, do you know who I am? Like, I'm the guy in the changing room, like screaming like "F you" at my teammates. At that point, anyway, I didn't have the maturity at that time. I'm like, "F you" at my teammates because you ain't pulling your weight and this, that. That's not coach material.
Yeah, you don't want the coach.
Yeah, that's like motivate you to run the effing floor.
Yeah.
In that moment, that's not how you like I broke players at some points. Like now I can be a coach. Like I'm more like, I understand not everybody's gonna push as much as you. Like, people go at different rates. Some people need to be like have your arm around them. Some people need you to get on their back for them to do well. I didn't understand that back then. It was like, okay, I'm good. Like, this is what I do. Why don't you do it? Like, yeah. So that's how career advice went.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So career advice was crazy. Do you have like a fuck it number? A number where you could just be like, look, I've made this money. I'm going to Sierra Leone. I'm done. Is there a number?
No.
Why not? Have you never thought about it, or is it just not a number?
It's not a number because I don't think I'll ever stop. I mean, I have enough money to be comfortable now.
Okay.
Like, it's okay. Like, I've always tried for comfort, because if you're like, once I realized that we were actually poor, not rich. Like, no, I never thought we were rich.
Right.
Once I realized we were poor, like, I thought that's not going to happen to us. This is why I really enjoy working with family. I think that's not going to happen to us. So like, the next goal would be for like all my family to be okay. Potentially, like, to have any like.
So yeah, so basically you don't need a number because you've already got a working business that funds your life, right?
And also because what I want to say was, the money is no longer important to me, as much as the doing, the getting there.
Question about money. Do you spend money on education? And do you see yourself spending money on education?
I spend money on more education than I even use.
Yeah.
I've got catch up mode.
So do you see yourself doing doing a degree, or is it just, are you doing courses?
Courses. I mean, I thought one day I might do the degree just to do it, but then I thought, like, nah,
It's a waste of money.
yeah.
You're like, I'm wasting my time and money. Like,
so I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of things I think in depth on, and I think maybe I should approach those things in a academic way in the future. But for now, like, what I need to learn is more to do with life and business. So if I'm gonna do a course on some sort of social media, for instance, or marketing, or like, I've done plenty of courses on finance, for instance. It's just plugging gaps and progression. And to be fair, like, the game's moved on. A lot of the things that were in universities are online in different ways. Some of the place is reputable,
right,
or the instructor is reputable.
right.
And also I find with some of the courses I do, they're directly from people with life experience. So I always say to people that go to uni, I say, like, people that ask me for advice, younger people ask me advice on uni. I say like, not everyone should go to uni, right. But also recognize that. Okay, for some things you definitely should go to uni. You want to be a doctor, like you want to learn how to chop my body up.
100%, like
for
there's
sure.
no
Do all the years, go to uni.
Yeah.
But there are almost every university course was based on someone who didn't have a degree. I say that to people all the time.
Say that again. Explain that again.
Every university course was initially begun based on someone who didn't have a degree.
Right. Someone.
That's a simple logic. Like,
of course, yeah. Someone had to figure this out and just make it up and
real
say,
life leads the way.
Do this.
And then obviously they try to codify it, and I think there's sometimes the point where that codification goes too far, as in it goes beyond the practicality.
Okay, 100%. But also, I think there's some like I went to uni, I learned some stuff, but some stuff you don't stop learning. Like it's like a doctor's practice. And a lawyer, they practice because you keep doing it, and there's new laws, there's new stuff that come up and what have you. But some of them, some degrees is like they probably could squeeze it in a year. Do you know what I mean? So they start doing these other realms of other things where it's just like, why am I this? I'm not going to use this.
To be fair, without straying too far, like this is my opinion of especially university in the US. Like there's a lot of people going to university where they shouldn't, and there's a lot of extra time in uni to the point where we're now focusing on more of how students feel, not in the mental health aspect, but how they feel about things unrelated to their courses.
But isn't that part of going to uni?
No.
But there's so many people that are 18 years old and haven't got no life experience at all. They've been in the house, whatever. They've been under their mum or their father's coattails, just chilling doing that, and then they go into the real world. Okay. So school, and that's what for me, even for me, it helps me do simple things like learn to write a letter in a correct way, with the right English.
Oh no, that stuff for sure. That's
do you mean
that's real,
social and like just being.
When I say other issues, I mean like universities appear to me from the outside to become more about political thinking centers as well as educational centers. Okay. Fine, everyone deserves their opinions and whatnot, but there's no way me at 15, 20, 25, even up to 30 thinks the same way now. Yeah. I can tell you now, I didn't know shit the time I was in university in terms of like the wider political spectrum. Yeah. So I don't like I say without going too in depth to it, like if you're going there and if you have the ability to spend a lot of your time engaged in political discourse and trying to change narratives in uni, whatever the case may be. Some things is necessary, like you've got race, they're trying to eliminate you or whatever, blah blah. But if you got that much time to spend, you're not getting the full bang for your buck. From a purely economic perspective, in this country, you spend $9,000.
I get what you mean.
In this country, you spend $9,000 a year.
A year, which is mad. That my
27K
whole 3 years was
having made a credible dime.
Crazy.
Like. Just thinking it purely from the numbers, I'm talking to my son about it eventually. Mm-hmm. We have to be honest. Like I could pay for uni. Like I'm working to be able to pay for your uni. Right. But is that the best use of those funds? Could I pay for you to take some other course away to go get some experience somewhere? Could I pay for you to start a business maybe? Fail at it, do the next one properly. You know what I mean? Get that knowledge that you won't get in school. You can do business studies all you want. You know. Yeah. Business. I've learned more in business than ever studying business. Of course, man. Like in fact, the studies, not that I've done business studies, but in terms of like learning from books and studying business, the studies only made sense when I was in practice.
Okay, of course. Yeah, same.
So a lot of times I've got to read things again because I missed the gems because I had no idea, I wasn't in it.
We couldn't match it to anything. It's just words on a piece of paper. It's just like this, do this thing.
Okay, we talk about doctors, right, in university. Doctors are doing... I spoke to a doctor over the weekend, actually, a friend's friend. So she did 5 years of study. Of course, there's some practical involved, but she was not to that. She did 5 to 7 years to become I thought it was 7. Become a junior.
Yeah, I thought it was about 7.
That's what I've heard.
Then she had to do more learning and more practice. Yeah. And in the end, it's going to be like somewhere between 10 to 15 years before she's actually a doctor. She's going to have done practice
money
already.
And helping people.
Yeah. So essentially, those first 5 to 7 years are largely theory.
which is crazy. But
it's crazy, but it works for doctors.
Exactly, because you can't just start cutting people up and just say, I want to be a brain surgeon. Like, good luck.
But here's the thing. Does it work for accounts, for instance? Like, in my personal experience, no. Like, you need a foundation. You need to learn some. But then you need to get out and do some stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about case studies. I'm talking about real stuff.
But that's where you need, like, they pretend that they help with that part, but they in my experience, they never have. So it really should be a sandwich or be somewhere where you're working, where you go do 2 years, and then for your third year, you go work somewhere. In some places, they do that.
You know what? Computer science has become the best example of that. People are doing treehouse and getting real jobs.
That's good. But we're hungry for it. The
thing is,
hungry for like
universities are old school, so they were behind. Most universities, like you go to Silicon Valley, it's going to be different. You do computer science degree. A lot of people do well. I'm not discounting, university completely.
Right.
What I'm saying is, a lot of people that are going into the tech space are doing courses and going into the tech space.
Yeah.
Because the university hadn't caught up yet.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So they're sort
self-taught,
of
and then you're
proving or disproving the model in some degree.
Right.
Again, I'm not going to make clear. University is for some people. It's not for everybody the way it's advertised.
Yeah.
And
just certain things you just don't need it for.
Economics get in the way, so loan companies rather have you in, so government policy follows, and now every kid our target is to get every kid in uni. I think it was Labour.
Yeah.
No, full damn well. A lot of people aren't geared for that. So people coming out of uni to go do other things. I mean, I tell people like there's no careers anymore. Kids. I spoke to actually a kid today at Dee's basketball, my son's basketball. Yeah. I was speaking to the mum as well. I was like, hey, like, what he does, if he goes to uni, what he does is not likely what he's going to be doing in 10 years' time.
Yeah. Most likely. That's reality for most people.
Now, you have to weigh that up yourselves. Is 27k worth that? If you're going to be a doctor, that is definitely what you're going to be doing in 10 years, because by the time you're done, that's when you finish after 10 years, that's what you're going to be doing.
Better be, or something that you like. It was there was a. I wish I remembered this guy's name. He's works in plastics. He went to uni, did a doctor degree, and but he also liked art and what have you. And I think he found his way of being able to add art into his vocation and work and what have you was plastics. And now he makes a lot of money from lip fillers, small, plastic surgery things, plastic surgery procedures. But then he was lucky to be able to say, "Oh, I'm going to add this bit into that," and then make a hell of a lot of money because it's plastic. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, other than that, like, you just what are you doing? You're just like racking up this big debt, and then you're not going to do the thing you do, like.
Yeah,
it's like
you got to weigh up the cost and benefit, and hopefully I can navigate my kids through that. But
do you want them to go to uni?
No. I don't. Mm-hmm. I don't want them to do anything.
Okay,
I want them to go with the course at that moment that feels right. Because the other narrative is you finish school, you go to uni. Why? Finish school and go if you want. Yeah.
So if they wanted to be...
The gap year seems a failure almost, basically.
If they wanted to be a songwriter, would you say go to university and do music? You can do music. You can do...
If they want. If they don't feel university is the course, you can write songs and sing that shit on YouTube.
100%.
I mean, to be honest, even if they say they want to go to university, I'll be saying, go get some real life experience. Get in the studios.
But it's interesting, So I've always had the two schools of thought. Excuse the pun. So I've always thought that school is not needed for certain things. However, school will give you life experience, to give you some time. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, you're 18.
I've got a question. What doesn't give you life experience? This is what
that's what life is. But that's what life is.
This is what I hear about university.
No, but you know,
what doesn't give you life experience?
The reason why I say it is like it's comfortable, like it's a cushioned setting because you're figuring out what you're doing while learning. And you get a degree at the end if you've done some work, because a degree is, from my experience, is really hard to fail. Like unless you're doing nothing.
Well, you know what? Here's what I think is good about, because all school structures helped me in the sense of basketball, especially, because you can't stray a course. You're in a team, you're in a year for that year for sure. You're gonna be, but if you have problem with the structure and discipline of daily life, and you can see that when you're in secondary school.
Yeah.
If you can't self-motivate, you can't do stuff like that. You find it difficult. Go to the institution. It will help you. It will push you along. There's a pressure to get that mark by this time of the year. Most people do it all last minute, blah blah. But you still
got to do it.
You
by
learn
time.
something in that sense. Yeah. Some people don't, but I think it'll help you along. You get the certificate afterwards. You know, but there's no telling. Like if I wanted to pick any profession out of the hat. If I want to be a graphic designer like you are, there's nothing saying that I couldn't succeed by learning enough with, again, something equivalent to a treehouse course, and then going to work.
I don't know much about tree search. Would you say tree?
Treehouse, but I'm saying it's something equivalent.
Right, but I don't know what that
is. Treehouse is for coding.
But 100%. Like, I always feel like I wish I could tell people, especially like young boys and girls who like drawing. I'm like, you can get yourself a £40,000 job drawing for a company. Like, do you know what I mean? You really can do that because you're able to do it without university. Like, university is great and it helps and it gets you in the door, especially if you don't have a background to who they want in the door. If you don't have a certain background, you don't look the certain way, whatever. The degree will help you get past that because they'll go, okay, cool. However, like, you just have to, you have to be, you have to have an artist's eye and want to do the work and then learn the programs. That's pretty much it. Yeah. But that's pretty much it. If you really want to do it, you can easily do it.
I'd agree. Like, I mean, I wouldn't, again, if my son said he wants to do graphic design, I'm going to weigh up all the options. I'm going to say you can go uni. I'm going to say you can also do this course and then go and get a job for the next year. And then you can see whether you're going to scale up. You can go up in that company, or you could be there for 4 years and make 27K more. Like you make 15K a year because you're really young and you're also enjoying life. You're not working all the time, sort of thing. 15K a year.
Yeah, that's great. To learn and play. Like,
you end up with, at the end of the 4 years, what your friend was in uni for, you would have made 60K. Yeah. You would have spent some of it, but I'll turn to save too. You know what I mean? Like, you won't owe people 27K. That's going to come out no matter what.
But that's the thing. But that's why it almost feels like it's a setup, because you're paying so much, and then when you come out, you're in debt, and then you might, if you get a job. Listen, I feel there's a group of designers that I went to school with that I still speak to. I don't know, there's probably like 8 of us, and I think 2 of us are graphic designers now.
And you mean uni? We went uni with them?
Yeah, I went to university with these people. I still speak to them. Great people, love them all. But like 2, maybe 3 are graphic designers right now. Like,
and they would have paid 9K at the time.
It would have been 9K for the whole year.
Plus maybe
it would have been $3,000 a year.
Plus the maintenance.
But this is as well. 2004, 2003. This is like early 2000s. So our money's changed in the 20 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it still was expensive.
Oh yeah, it was cheap. It was cheaper, but you still had left over.
Yeah, exactly. But you still got this debt, and then you say, "Oh no, I want to do X. I want to do that." Do you know what I mean? Like in this place.
And to be honest, most people that decide what here's the trigger for me that means that I'm not like hell bent that you have to go to uni, especially when it might not be permitted. Most people that, like you said 2 out of 8, or let's say 3 out of 8 to be generous. The other 5 are guaranteed they didn't go back to uni again to do what they're going to do next.
Probably not. I think one of them did nursing, but they had to do some sort of.
You have to do some sort of courses, but you didn't go uni.
Yeah.
Like.
But then, like I said, is that the time where you're figuring out what you're doing? Like, was that the 3 years where you said, "Oh, I actually don't like this"? Like, I don't. Is that what you paid the £9,000 for? Like,
I mean,
I don't like this.
Maybe I look from a business perspective too much, but I think in that you would get more of a role. Like, okay, you've had the school experience. Just like you're forced to go to school to year 18, 16, but there's general pressure to go to year 18. Right, or you're considered the bum, basically. Like, you're gonna go work as a butcher, is what they tell you. Some nonsense. Yeah. Right. But after that, if I could work and learn and make money, am I still not getting a more valuable life experience? Because a lot of people, a lot of young people, like, I won't say a lot, cause not like a lot that I speak to, are saying like, I'm finished, I can't get a job, I'm struggling. Like one of my family friends who's working for me now, she's excellent, she's proficient, she's working with, but she did law.
Yeah.
She come to us because she couldn't get law work initially, and then she's having to like the work and she's sticking around, and she's getting paid. But I mean, she felt obviously pressure from parents and around. She felt she had to go that route, blah blah. And she's like, and now she's absolutely convinced she doesn't want to do law work. She's absolutely convinced she doesn't want to do law work. Like she's still trying to figure it out, and she enjoys being in it, but that's a huge expense. She's part of the 27K, 9K a year cohort.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Like, I was gonna say how much money she's making, but I'm not gonna say that.
Right.
But she's making almost that a year.
Yeah, mad, isn't it? Yeah, it's mad. But like,
Like there's nothing about her that says she couldn't have done this 3 years ago.
But it's also that what they're telling you. It's like it's telling you take a loan because we like the money, and you need a degree to be seen or spoken to or what have you. But it just isn't the truth. Like it just isn't the truth, especially with like the YouTube era and what have you. So many other things that you can do. But if I ever had a son or a daughter who said they want to try graphic design, if they wanted to go uni, go ahead. But I say, I'll show you. Like, stay here. I'll show you how to do this.
That's actually true. Like,
I'll show you how to do it, and you'll be fine. You'll get a job. I guarantee you.
We do. Me and my son do computer programming.
That's what he's doing when he was here.
Yeah, he's doing it right now behind the camera. Right? So it's like clocked in several hours, like learning along the way. Really, like just self-study, and that's gonna be the way. Like a lot of people getting side hustles now, and
because of YouTube though as well. Again, like you can learn whatever you want from. Like I didn't have that, but also it's definitely that aptitude. That's like 100%. Doesn't matter how many videos you have, if you don't have the appetite for it, it's not gonna do it. My cousin has a couple of kids and they're doing their GCSEs, and I was staying by their house, and I was watching him. He got up in the morning, turned YouTube on, and then was listening to like the stuff he's gonna have to learn in the lesson, like science stuff, because he does like triple science or whatever. Smart kid. And I was like, oh wow, you can listen to the stuff before you want to go. That's like excellent. I wish I had that. And then I thought I did. Yeah, and I had bite size as well on YouTube and all that. Course, I wasn't listening to that, like, because I didn't want it. I didn't want it. So you know, you really just have to want it. If you want it, it's this. There's stuff there. It's available.
You wanted something more graphical, like art and stuff like that, and you weren't told that. You probably weren't told that
was available. That wasn't a thing. But even to find stuff about it as well, or people that were doing it who looked like me, who was cool, or people working in massive companies, Nike or whatever it was, that wasn't even like a thing. It wasn't really talked about. I went into I went into the field because I was gifted. Like that's it. There wasn't a real choice of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this because this person doing it, and there's that, and there's books, and there's like, it was just just do this. You might as well do something. Do this.
Well, you know, graphic design. Well, it's probably grown because of the internet. There's more availability, but it's always been a big thing. Advertising's always been a big thing.
Yeah.
Like in our lifetime, anyway.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to like the weird Western emphasis on specific subjects that they consider academic, and the way they view and the way.
Well, so can it make money?
The way they view intelligence.
But can it make money? And it's normally like the politicians that say this is why this person is getting this wage because they do this for the society.
Yeah, you know what? Not always, because like not many like English. People always bag on English. English is important to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. But not many people are doing. I don't want to say a completely correct thing here, but like for instance, directly you can do math and directly be a physicist.
Okay.
You can do economics jobs. You can get to finance, blah blah. Science, similar thing. There's like high paid jobs that go to. There's not anything obvious that English.
Not obvious, but it's almost everything, because.
I mean,
most times you got right.
No. Okay, but you had it down pat by the time you got to year 7. The basics of writing and being able to I could write a letter in year 7.
Maybe I couldn't, but but maybe. But
No,
there's loads of guys that I work with that are just
even me in terms of my writing ability and things, like a lot of it's like copying and adapting. I'm not saying English is not completely important. What I'm saying is there's a perverted reliance on English as being one of the top-notch things you have to do and go into to be considered smart, for instance.
okay.
But it
I'll
doesn't.
go with that.
But it pales in comparison to. No, it's almost. I would say English is probably equal to some of the other subjects that we poo-poo away,
Right.
that we don't give lots of information to.
Yeah.
Like with every advertising message, there's copy, right? And let's say that's the English side.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's graphics,
Yeah.
and they go hand in hand. So you as a potential graphic designer should have been just as held, someone who could draw things and really accurate and it was nice. Well, you should have been just as held as someone who was doing well at Macbeth.
Yeah.
More so, it's more relevant. Like you're not doing any copy that relates to Macbeth and Shakespeare. Like we all did Shakespeare. I'm not saying Shakespeare's bad; it's a masterpiece for this area. Fine, but the emphasis is perverse, and I think that obviously has a huge impact on what kids choose and don't choose. It's like, and the distress that people have. People think, oh, I'm failing because I'm not doing well at maths, but I'm not doing well at maths and English.
But I think they missed the point on the end goal. The end goal is normally to get a job. I don't think people show you can make money from doing this. I didn't even know you can make money from graphic design. I didn't even know where that fit in the corporate structure. I didn't know that was.
You probably thought you could be an artist and that's it.
I could do something. Yeah, I can do this stuff. I'm good at this, and I'm getting good grades at it. I'm sure I'll find something. But I didn't know I could be. And then some graphic designers move on to be like art directors or head of marketing, or there's a road.
There's real
There's
pathways,
a road for you to be like to move up kind of thing. But yeah, I think that's the disconnect. I don't think they show us that. It's just like there's these things that we like.
They do show you we could be with those what they call core subjects. They really push
I don't know if they show about the money, that they just show that this is the thing. This is the best one.
You understand
this is the best one.
money from the prestige they put on it.
I guess this is the best one. I guess that's what they say. All right. Do you have a monthly budget? Do you budget monthly?
Sort of.
Well,
I do. I can't see what it is.
Everyone has a monthly. Even though people say that, everyone has a monthly budget, whether they like it or not. They just do you take note?
I do it the other way around. Really, I know how much I spend, how much I need, and that's always gonna be there. But what I'm more concerned with is how much I keep. So, on the front end, the money that's gonna be saved and the money that's gonna be invested is gone, like immediately. And then what's left is essentially for me to play with. Like I don't spend a lot generally, so I know I'm never gonna go so far that I can't pay bills. But then there's like a gap of money that a lot of times I don't end up spending, so that just goes back to the savings or investments. You know what I mean? I don't know how to describe that, but I guess the answer is yeah. But there's a huge gap. There's not a huge gap. There's a gap between. So
do you do it percentage wise? Do you say, okay, I'm just going to take this percentage of the top, or do you just say that looks like the right amount? I'm going to put this into savings. Do you make the same money every month to budget, or is there a difference?
No, I don't. But I make I make a minimum, and that's what I'm budgeting with in terms of. Okay. So I try to get it around 40-50%.
To save,
yeah. To get,
that's good.
To keep for, it's not just save, but for other things, for the future, I'll call it. The rest is bills and play, and at some point, like the bills will come off at the front end anyway. Like after like a few days after my savings go out, which I always do manually because I like the feeling of that. Then the bills come out, and there's like a pot of money that's gonna be like shopping and life.
And what do you invest in? What type of things do you invest when you save and invest? And do you save it and then invest it, or do you put it straight into? Do you have a stock? Do you have a stock account? Do you have? What would you?
I have a stock account. I have a Wealthify account. Okay. I can't remember what they're called.
Any good? Wealthify. I've never really done a lot of research on Wealthify. It's just another easy way.
Just under 30% of 30% growth. 30% growth.
Oh, so you're doing a call in it,
Yeah,
but
so
it's like it's supposed to be.
it's been a while though.
It's supposed to be a quick. What's it? It's an app where you can say, "Oh, I want to make this much," and they do they suggest stocks for you, or you just
they pick the stocks.
They pick.
So
the
for
stocks.
me, it's almost like God, what's the name of it?
It's about
Like
money
an index,
box?
like an index fund.
Oh, okay.
It's basically an index fund.
Right.
That's all it is.
Okay.
Like,
So you get to pick what
you
type
pick,
of
you
stuff.
pick how risky you want it to be.
Right.
Like I obviously chose the highest risk. Like
Go for it.
it's not like
When they say high risk, it's like we're risking whatever you put in
yeah,
there.
it's always
So-
risk. Their high
course.
risk is obviously they're picking stocks that are gonna grow, but obviously could.
Right.
As long as you understand the risk, you got to take a test. If you understand the risks, you're
Right.
cool. You can invest in that area. There's that, and then there's my stocks that I put in, and then
So you get individual stocks.
Yeah,
You
stocks.
individual. And what type of stocks do you like? What type of things you've been investing in recently?
Recently?
To be specific, you just like.
oh no, recently I've been heavy on airline stocks.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you saying about it. Yeah.
So,
And that was like pre-COVID, like the start of COVID, the hit of COVID. Was that?
that was like dead at the start of COVID. Like I found like I was struggling. I was struggling for what to invest. So I was putting money in the account and not getting anything new.
Right.
And then COVID hit, and then like I was supposed to fly, I think like the weekend after they said we couldn't go nowhere, and the whole world was like we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was gonna fly on an EasyJet flight, and I was like, EasyJet's gonna tank.
There you go.
Yeah, like, that's it. Like I just saw like, if I can't fly and they got to give my money back and they get everybody their money back, EasyJet's going down.
Mad.
And
Yeah.
I also felt like they were too big to fail
Right.
as well, which is why I put the money into them
Right.
because I thought like, hey, like it could even go further down. Like, in fact, it didn't. So, it flew up after a while, and it's gone down a bit now, which means I bought more recently. But
The whole market's down at the moment.
yeah, the whole market's going down. But
Yeah.
so it's like but I generally don't care about stuff like that. I care about like what I'm going to invest in,
Right.
and the time in
Which
that.
is good, and the thing that you saw that's like the best part is the fact you were affected by something, and you said, "Oh, cool, this is a good opportunity."
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
I
So
think
that's
I-
what's
in fact,
important.
you know, I think I told almost everybody. It's like this.
That's
This what, I'm not recommending, but this is what I'm doing.
Right.
So I think I told my sister and everybody else around me.
I was a bit lazy. I was a little bit lazy and a little bit apprehensive to want to do the work around it. I think that was the issue. Is just that I want to do things. I want to read about stuff that I'm interested in, because for me, if I'm gonna put money in something, I'm gonna read. I've got to read.
There's so many things to
I'm
invest
gonna
in.
read. Yeah. So
there's so
I thought,
many
oh,
things to invest in.
aviation. Do I really want to know about Boeing engines?
I invested in Boeing too, because
Yeah.
obviously they're making the engines. They've got no one to
Yeah,
supply. and
exactly,
stuff like
yeah, all of
And,
that, so-
Rolls Royce.
yeah, well, massive.
Yeah, they make
Yeah, they make engines. Yeah, I
and
still.
stuff. Who else was there? The owner of British Airways, I'm forgetting, IAG. They were one as well, and I'm gonna get this wrong. American Airlines.
Okay.
So yeah, there's I was gonna invest in Ryanair too, but I hate Ryanair. That's a company. Like I hope they.
But you know the
I
first
hope they
person.
crash and burn.
You know, you know the first person to
So
say
many
that.
for me, man. I hate Ryanair.
That's funny. Okay. All right. So that's what you invest in. That's cool. And growing up, did you get pocket money? And do you give your kids pocket money?
We got pocket money sporadically.
Okay.
I don't remember consistently getting pocket money. It's weird. We always got money for like what we needed, like
But like you know
School,
like how you
like,
see it, it's like,
school
oh, here's
food.
£2 every week for taking out the rubbish and
we got
like,
money for school. No, we never got money for chores.
yeah,
I would never.
which
do that
is
for my
a
kids.
bit
Like,
mad. I don't know.
we had to do the chores.
Yeah, stuff
Like,
you
we
got to
lived
do,
there,
man. That's
like-
not yeah.
And that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. To me.
Yeah.
Like, when I learned people getting money for chores, I think I tried to raise it to my parents. They were like, ha, 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 ha. So who's gonna clean the mess you make? They're like, that makes sense. Like, there's no argument for that. You beat me. Like, you beat me. Like, there's no way. So yeah, there's no. But in terms of like money for like, we've got like £10 a week for school.
Yeah,
During school time, so we can buy food.
crisp and food. And
Yeah,
well,
and that-
well, well.
And that was that came at a time where only came at a time where packed lunches became a Like nobody was having packed lunch
That's so
anymore.
interesting.
And I was having packed lunches for a
forgot
while.
about that. Yeah, I forgot that stopped. Like, there's no such thing as like a packed lunch. When you got to secondary school, that kind of just stopped. There was like, you can buy burgers and buy like stuff in the vending machine.
Yeah, I think it's getting to a
like,
point where, because I used to make money when I was in school anyway, like myself, from primary school to thing, like selling stuff and whatever.
Yeah. Entrepreneur from early.
Right, entrepreneur's a big word. I was just selling shit.
It just sounds fun.
That's like,
it just sounds
people
fun.
say entrepreneur,
it's
Richard Branson's entrepreneur.
Exactly, I was selling
I'm
stuff.
a business person. That is it.
100%. But you had business acumen, I guess.
I suppose you could say like, but then that comes. That's not from me. That comes from the culture that I'm from.
Yeah.
Sierra Leone, like when I was Sierra Leone, almost everyone's a small seller.
Yeah.
Like women on the street selling stuff. Everyone's like, you get a few. Some people in the offices, blah blah. But most people that live in hand to mouth, they're selling to survive.
It's like an
like my grandma sold stuff like I think augury, which is like a special like food from Sierra Leone to other Sierra Leones while she was here. So we always saw that.
Right.
And I didn't. Obviously, you're a kid, you don't think you can get a job, but I know I can get something that you want and sell it. Like the first thing I really remember selling was fake computer games for PlayStation.
Right. Copies.
Yeah. So I just went and bought a copy from Hackney Market.
Same, 100%.
But
Hackney Market as well. 100%. I did the same thing.
So it's weird. I would go to Hackney Market.
Yeah.
First, I bought like really cheap CDs, and my friend Alan, gave me the CD to play, to borrow.
Right.
I don't know where it came from. I copied it for myself.
Right.
And then now people were like, "Oh, you've got it too." I was like, "Yeah, I got it too. You want it?"
You saw the cha-ching. You saw the
and then like
the in.
And then all of a sudden I can go to I remember the shop. The CDs were cheap. You get like 50 of them for like
ridiculous
$5.99 or something. It's like even cheaper than that. And it came to a point where the guy was on the way home, so I'd buy bulk, and he started giving it to me for cheap. I didn't know what bulk was back then, but it was like, if you're gonna buy so many, buy this amount. I'll give it to you for a cheaper price. Right. It's like, great.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Like, brilliant. Like, I was literally spend the same amount of money to get double the amount of CDs. Yeah. And then it came to a point where like, I sold to everyone in school, and then like we started to go to other schools.
That's dope.
And then like,
you went the stage further. I didn't do all that. Like,
oh yeah, I sold. It was £5 to prime. It was £5 to secondary school kids, and £10 for primary school kids because their parents were buying it.
Oh man, so that's an interesting model, like business model.
That was it. And also, I could sell.
He's an entrepreneur. That's an entrepreneur.
Like I bought the chip. Like you buy the chip from Hackney Market. So I was going to sell him, and I go,
oh, the chip for the
PlayStation.
So you can use the
so you can use
the
so you can use the game.
Right.
So
you went far. Like
that was the first problem. Like I burnt. No, it's by
some
force.
people that didn't work though. What did you give it to them and they didn't work? Did you give them the and
almost everyone knew you had to have a chip.
Right.
So some of them, I guess, I don't remember. Some of them would have come back to me when it doesn't work, and I'm like, "You got to have a chip," and they'd be like, "I ain't got a chip." Alright, cool. Don't take your money back. I'm gonna get you a chip.
Right.
Like, because you can get way more games. Like, I'll get you way more games for cheaper. So it was like, that was the first problem. I was like, you want to buy this? No. I ain't got a chip. Alright, cool. I'll get you a chip. Then I can go get a chip for like £20 and then sell it to them for 30.
There you go.
And then I can sell the game too at the same time.
Right.
And then sell more games.
More games because they've got the chip now.
Because they've got the chip.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That hustle ended when I didn't realize it because I didn't really play the game once I started selling the game. Really, like I played it to a point, like not like the hardcore. When the hardcore people played the story mode, it was actually a demo. It was a game that they give to the games magazine
to play. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To play.
Yeah, they can actually play it, and it only goes so far.
Yeah,
that's so interesting. Yeah,
so they couldn't complete. I remember the game was a wrestling game. It was the first game was a wrestling game, so they couldn't complete the game.
Of course.
And then some of the primary school parents were like coming at me.
Which is crazy because
like,
you bought a pirate. Like, what? You bought a pirate. What do you expect? Yeah. Buy the original. Like,
I went to the police and blah, blah. I was like, cool, I ain't going to that school no more.
Yeah, I just want to go there again.
Yeah, like, why do you have to have the one kid that wants to complete the game? Who completes the game in primary school? Shut up. Like, in secondary school, I'll be like, get out of my face, man. Like, you bought the game. Like, leave me alone. Like, it works for me.
Yeah. I was more music. Like, I did music, like albums, like doubles, £10.
You know, that was actually the first hustle. It wasn't music. It was music. Now I realised it wasn't CDs. It was tapes.
Okay, tape. I wasn't tapes. Oof. Yeah, you old school.
Was mad.
I was CDs.
I used to. My older cousin lived in Brixton, so we'd go to Brixton because he had everything hip hop. I used to sit there and like almost like in a trance, just listening to Tupac and Biggie all day.
Yeah, of course.
Then I realized you could dub, you know, the two tapes side by side.
140, yeah.
Fast dub was about less quality, blah blah. Then you start selling the tapes because everyone loved Tupac and Biggie back then. It's like, and especially when Tupac and Biggie died, woo, market went.
Of course.
So I was literally doing that, going to Brixton for the weekend with my brother, sitting there, dubbing it, not listening to it anymore, obviously, because I listened to it a million times, dubbing it, fast dub, quality was dead crap. because fast dub is... No, you better quality if you did it slow dub, because while it was playing...
But I'm saying the person that's spying it, that's where they're going to get. That's what you're going to get. Like, they can't get anywhere else. So it's like...
Newham, there was nowhere in Newham, Barking and Dagenham that had anywhere like Brixton.
Right.
Where the music was available. Like
it's Hackney Market, or it's, it's what...
Yeah, like even Hackney Market didn't really have anything music-wise.
Probably not.
Because Brixton was culture. Like, there was a lot of culture in Brixton. We go through the market and like you hear different things. It felt like it's a different zone. Like, and also way more black people as well.
I even had a fear of going to them type of places.
I would love to know how it got there. Like it got from the US to Brixton in particular.
Yeah. Loads of black people.
Like,
I guess the culture's there, innit?
Yes,
people want. Like, and it's
I guess
supply and demand,
had a
isn't
cousin
it?
or a friend in the US.
Supply and demand, innit? If there's enough people that like that type of music, it's going to be there, innit? I guess.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. But it's like, why wasn't there more British rap? It was like all American back then.
Yeah, but we had no scene. We had no rap scene. no British rap scene.
We had like the jungle scene and stuff like that. And
and that was reggae. That was all
and that's where my money went. Cause like, you know,
okay. That was going to be my next question, which is interesting.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you think, yeah, I'm gonna do all these things like I'm gonna change the life of my family, blah blah. Now I'll just buy spliffy jackets.
100% stuff for yourself.
Eventually Visu jeans, like McDonald's for my brothers and sisters because we didn't have McDonald's until like much older.
That was weird as well. I never had either, and it was when I could have it. I was like, yeah, I can have McDonald's, buy McDonald's. But yeah, I was gonna go to my next question. How do you like to spend like your fun money? What do you do with your fun money now? Obviously, then it was spliffy jackets, and that's fun for you. No, for you. For you, would you spend money on for yourself?
Kids.
Okay. It's not a fair answer, but yeah.
That's where it goes. That's why I say there's a lot left over. Like, especially since COVID, going out with friends, like I don't care how much I spend on like food and entertainment while I'm out with people that I love and like want to be around. You know what I mean? Like that's more the thing.
So how much the most you spend on a date if you're with a girl?
On a date?
Yeah. What's the most you've spent?
I don't know.
Ballpark. Like,
I have no idea.
You spend 50 quid? Like, are you that type of guy? Are you pizza go-go? Or are you...
It depends. You know what? Early on, I don't really go anywhere too crazy. Like I don't want anyone to think I have money. No, it's not just strategic. I'd rather just spend time with you and figure out whether I'm gonna want to spend more time with you. You know what I mean?
Which is interesting because a lot of women want it the other way around. Like, show me how much you want me by spending loads of money and time on me. And then we can do that stuff.
This might sound a bit patronizing, but I don't think women really want that. Like, because you know, like I've been out on like dates where it's just like lasted a long time, and after that they love it. Like, and I don't think they would have enjoyed it if it was like an hour thing at no booze or something. Like, it was like a more meaningful time. Like, there was some street food at the park. Nice. It was just more meaningful time. Yeah. But in terms of amount, to be honest, like I look at that as a social expense that I have to pay, but probably don't feel like I probably should. So I just this sounds a bit bad. It's gonna sound bad. Women hate me, but like I just put the card out and be like, take. I don't want to see. I don't want to see the bill. I don't want to know how much.
Just do whatever you're gonna do.
Just take, man. Like,
just do what you're
extort
me. Well, yeah. Okay. Cool.
And it hurts more when a woman hasn't offered to pay. I always pay.
Right.
If a woman has,
but it's nice when they pretend.
When they
they go.
When they play the game.
When they. But obviously, I'm gonna pay. Like, I get it. So, do you ever buy gifts for girls? You ever buy extravagant gifts, or like, do you ever buy anything for your some trainers or some, I don't know, jewelry?
Occasions, birthdays. To be honest, I'm more of a, okay, occasions force me to buy things for people, but I'm more of a thoughtful buyer. That sounds like I'm glorifying myself, but it's more like, if I see something and think of you,
Yeah,
I'm gonna buy it. I'm generally not buying a necklace because I out of the blue. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if people do that, but that's...
What's the most expensive present that you bought for a partner?
Man, I don't know. I really don't know.
You must know. Like, you must have. Is it a house, car, jewelry? Like, we're going down the ladder. Clothes.
Well, in that sense, it's got to be probably like, it's a single act, probably jewelry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got to be
Expensive jewelry.
Yeah, but not good in a house.
Yeah.
Shit.
Happens. Like, yeah, I know people.
It does happen. I'm not in that bracket yet. I don't know. I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah.
Like, for me to be able to buy a house, I need to be able to afford a good like 100 of them.
So when you buy food for your house, are you generic or are you name brands?
I'm name brand. The older boy is. I'm generic. Sorry, the older boy is name brand.
Okay.
And I've got to, get out of it.
Okay. And when you pay for stuff, you pay for it like, you normally a cash person. Or you like credit? Do you use your credit card, or?
Generally, I use my credit card and just pay it back.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so
almost,
you clear it
almost immediately.
You clear it every month or immediately, kind of.
Yeah. Like,
do you have a do you have a cashback? Do you get some sort of reward, or it's just?
I did with my Amex, but I stopped using them.
Okay.
Like, it's just.
So why do you use the credit card? Just because you know.
Just for the credit profile. I don't have too many credit things. Right. Like, I'm trying to think. I guess phone bills count, but yeah, I think I need it. Like, there's a time where I fixed up my credit, like it was just doo-doo, and I got it from like doo-doo to whoever the bottom's lowest score is.
Yeah.
By words they have poor, very poor, whatever, and got it to like very good, excellent, whatever it was. And I found like I just need to have
something.
Part of the problem was I need to have consistent credit, because there was a time where I just had like, credit card, I spent all of it, like early days of having a credit card,
right?
And I had no idea how that was affecting me. I was just paying the minimum and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then it got to where I was like, oh, actually, this is affecting me. Then I got rid of all the credit, and then the credit dropped again. I was like, okay, this is the game. You need to see me spending.
Right.
Fine. Like,
it's a game. Yeah, it is. It's literally a game. It's called a score. Like, it's, it's literally a game.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what I found out. Like, I have to use this thing, so yeah, I'm gonna use it as much as it comes to mind.
Yeah.
Like, it's just random. Like, so I'll open my wallet to pay for something. I'll see, because I've got two cards, the checking card, whatever it is, debit card, and the credit card. And I'll just see which one. And I just pick at random moments when I'm going to use that one.
Yeah. It's good to try and get cash back. I get cash back. I've also got like a crypto card where you get crypto for buying.
A few friends got that. You know what? It's like you with the airline stock. I just had the time to look at it. I'm like, I don't want
that's
extra stuff.
Like, right. That's what it is. For the crypto, for me, it was had to sit down and figure it out. Like, I had to say, okay, what do I have to do? Because you have to stake money to get the card. So it's basically like putting some money in crypto, and then they give you the card. You can also, if you pay for your Spotify on it, they'll give you a bit of crypto and stuff like that. And the reason why I see it is just that I'm doing those things anyway. Like, I'm spending money anyway. I'm paying for Spotify anyway. Like, why am I not just making a little bit of money?
That could work. To be honest, it's just mental laziness. I'm not bothered to look. Yeah. Like, off.
But everyone.
It's probably nothing by the time I get to it.
With everyone, do you know what I mean? With everyone, it's like that. Would you rather invest in a house or experience like traveling or something like that? Where would you like to spend your money?
I would never make that an either or. At this stage of my life, it doesn't have to be either or. It's not the financial stage or anything like that. It's just the mentality. Mm-hmm. I used to think like, hey, I'm gonna work like really hard and enjoy my life when I've got there. And now I'm like, I could enjoy it while I'm working. I think the kids really maybe appreciate that, really. Like, Like, it's like, what am I waiting for? What are they waiting for?
Yeah.
Like, really,
Always
like,
tomorrow kind of thing.
yeah, it's like,
But
like, and then like, you asked me what the FU money is. I think that's why I dropped the concept. Is like I'm out here to achieve stuff.
Right.
Like, okay, do I have enough to go on holiday? Yeah, cool. I'm going on holiday. That's it. Like, if I don't have it, I don't have it. Like, I'm not gonna spend what I don't have.
Right.
If I legitimately don't have it, I'm not gonna use a credit card to get it or blah blah.
Right.
I don't have it. That's it. Like, there are very few things I'll take a loan for. Like, it's something that's gonna make me money or something that's like hugely important to me. Like, for family or this, that, or an issue. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's like I wouldn't trade it either or. Like, I'd build the money to, even if if I'm gonna, for instance, if I need to save, I was in that position where I need to save $2,000 a month for a future house. That would just say that means I'll be at 48K by the end of year 2. Well, heck, I'm going on holidays. I'm gonna go on holidays, and I'm gonna be on the 48K by the end of year 3, 4.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Like,
you do both. The answer's always both.
It's like, that's it.
The answer's always both.
I think it's not always. Some people, the answer is one or the other. So some people spend all their time spend all the extra bit of money going on holidays. Because I mean, the compromise is, I'm gonna spend less.
For me, it's always both. If I always got either or, like, I want both.
Well, I mean, when it's both, sometimes the quality of each might go down, or the time it takes to get.
That's true.
So, like, if I in the option where I chose to get a house in a longer time, I also might not be able to go to Vegas all expenses.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I might go to Portugal, like, semi board and
half board or whatever.
Yeah, and enjoy it. Still add to the experiences.
Yeah, of course.
And that's only grown with each trip. You know what I mean? Like, I found myself in Egypt in an executive room a few weeks ago. I was like, life's picked up, man. Like,
it's nice.
like about like almost 20 years ago, just under 20 years ago, I was in Miami in a hostel with some friends. Like, hey, should we eat or should we go to the Bahamas?
It's like that.
It's like, yeah, like this is the last day. It wasn't that irresponsible. It was the last day. It was like, should we eat? And also there was an issue. I think it was with my bank card at the time. So we were like, all right, so I think I had the money at the time, and then it wasn't letting me withdraw. So we were living lavish the first few weeks, and I think I was fronting some of the nights, not lavish, but we were
enjoying yourself.
And then we're like, hey, on the last day we're gonna go to the Bahamas, and then we looked and was like, went to a cash and was like, it's not giving the money. Like, it's not even like letting me do anything. Like, I can see the money's there. So we were like, hey, should we eat or go to the Bahamas? And we almost went to the Bahamas. We almost did that ish. But yeah, we ate for the last day. Like, didn't do too much. Like, but yeah, like, it moved on completely from there. So
cool. All right. Is there any questions that you thought I was going to ask that I didn't ask?
What you were gonna ask?
Yeah.
I was about to say something real stupid.
And we didn't talk about it. We thought we were going to talk about, or you'd like to talk about.
Nah, I can't think of anything, to be honest.
Do you know anything about Klarna?
Klarna, where you pay for things over time. Yeah, I know something like Klarna.
Yeah. Have you? And what do you feel about Klarna for what you know of it for society, for us?
I think for lower income people, although it's interest free, right, for a period. I put Klarna under the same bracket, but with less harm, as choice magazines, credit cards, the habit of money. Maybe that's probably the question that you could have asked. But the habit of money is like, in psychology, money is super important.
Right.
So, again, Klarna and credit cards, I think, are for rich people.
Okay.
And I say it in this way: if you don't have a plan to pay for it, if you're not comfortable enough to pay, if you're not using it as a tool and for a reason, you shouldn't be using it, because the psychology and the habit of using that stuff is like kicking it down the future. Like, it's not allowing you to take the proper course. Like, my life changed when I was able to really save money and invest money and keep some, and had the discipline to do that, because there's no limited amount of things I could just keep buying. You know what I mean? Like, even just like clawing my way out of debt taught me a heck of a lot. At the same time, I was building my credit as well. So it's like,
You in debt? What are you in debt for?
just spending and overspending, and you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, that's it. Like, there's
And what type of debt? Like credit card debt or like loans?
credit card debt.
And okay.
credit card debt is like that simple. At 17 years old, they gave me a credit card,
There you go. Spending money you didn't have.
and I didn't know I didn't have it.
Didn't have it. Yeah, exactly.
They gave me money.
You said
That's
it's there.
money
Yeah,
to me.
it's there.
Like, it came to a point where I had like 9K of debt, and I was like, you guys gave me 9K of debt.
It was crazy.
Like, and like, yeah, I should be responsible, and maybe someone should have taught me, blah blah blah. But it's irresponsible. It's irresponsible lending.
Yeah,
Let's
of
be real,
course.
That's irresponsible.
Of
lending.
course.
Like,
And what do you know about APR at that time? You got to pay it back
no idea.
at this
No,
amount.
That's what killed me, right? Because mathematically, like, most people consider me good, like, in my circles and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the numbers are my thing. And it's not until like one day I thought, let me plug this up in a spreadsheet. I was like, say what now? And then I did an exercise, like, because it bugged me, truly bugged me. I did an exercise where I was like, so how much have I paid this whole time? And I had paid like 8 times the amount of the actual credit that I'd borrowed.
Yeah, see, it's crazy.
It's like, and not many, I don't want to say regular people, but not many people with my inclination and curiosity and stuff like that are doing that.
No, they're just gonna pay whatever it is, or just they keep spending until it's like, oh, that's really high. Like,
Yeah, so and I think that's a habitual thing. You got discipline. You've got at some point discipline yourself, to spend within your means and
100%. And it's a psychology thing, and it is. And when I first heard of Klarna, I was like, this is like layaway. This is, and I automatically thought this is a negative thing. And after thinking about it, it's not necessarily negative. It is really just how you use it. That's it. It's fine. I have a credit card.
Nothing's
and I
negative
use
if you use it correctly.
Right. So
But
I
think the
use it
negative
in a great
that
way.
They know it's going to be used by people who are going to default on that 0% period. That's where the money's going to be made. Like, there's no money making in giving free money.
I think there is, the way that I believe that they can make money is by giving away so much money. Is that they have a higher rating to lend, and then they can lend on bigger things. Then they're a bank. They're essentially a bank. That's what they are. So that's kind of how they are making their money. But I get what you mean. I understand your point. But
Well,
like I
I
said,
don't know actually, because we've seen that over the years where you think a company's making money in a legit way, but the negative is always like gym memberships are made on a negative.
Yeah.
People not showing
they
up.
were. Yeah, I'm not sure if they still are now, but yeah, because you can just quit them and you don't have to do it for a year and stuff like that. But yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah, no, but still, regardless of that, even
People
if-
still, yeah,
even if
people-
they've put the like no quitting fees essentially to lure more people in.
Yeah, and then they still
people
just
don't cancel
forget.
direct debits.
They just leave them on there, 100%.
Yeah, they just don't.
100%.
Same with Blockbuster. Like,
But
it's not on
at the same
lending, it's
time,
on the fees, fines.
Like I said, if you can use stuff like that, credit and stuff like that for positive, it works out in your favor. So if you, the two positive things I thought about using something like Klarna would be is, number one, a lot of the times we don't go to the shops to buy clothes anymore. We want to buy them online.
Yeah.
So say if I want to buy, I don't know, £700 jacket, I don't know the size, I'm going to buy 3 or 2. It's a lot. It's £1,400. I don't want to pay for that. Let Klarna pay for it, but give me the jackets, and I can just pay it off.
The other thing is, I think that's a unique case.
Why not?
I don't think many people order 3 jackets on Klarna.
No, of course.
to
Well,
return
no,
to.
of course not. Yeah, but I'm saying it's a good, because you can do that. Do you know what I mean? And I don't have to take 1,700 or 1,500 or whatever it is out of my bank at once. I can just use Klarna and then pay it back when I'm ready, and then send it back. You can just send it back. Do you know what I mean? And get the money back, and it never came out of my bank, which is really good. And the other one was, if a company, you're not sure if they're a fraudulent company, just let Klarna pay for it.
Yeah, but they're not allowed to be fraudulent if Klarna's on it.
There you go. So then you know it's going to be it's not going to be fraudulent if Klarna's on
Yeah.
it. So it's just like, I get it. There's some benefits there that you could use, and I appreciate that.
To be honest, my view on Klarna is it's going to be used by more people who it's going to be a negative for than a positive.
Yeah, we'll see.
And that's
It's been out for a while, so we'll see. It'll be interesting. I do want to look a little bit more into it. Like,
I'm
it's
saying
really
I'm
interesting.
saying that purely for the psychology of it, like
Right.
like the layaway. Like I can see the positive you're saying for sure. I can see that.
Yeah.
But like someone who has trouble, I don't know, managing their budgets and finances and stuff.
Yeah, if you don't need Gucci shoes and you're buying Gucci shoes because you want them now and you got paid in 3 installments because you have to have them now, then yeah, you're probably not the best customer for something like that.
I think that's probably most consumers in retail anyway.
Yeah, just generally.
So
Anyway, it was good, man. I
Hopefully.
appreciate Yeah, good. I appreciate you coming out tonight. You could have been anywhere in the world. To hear me.
Everything discussed on this podcast is either my opinion or the opinion of my guest, and not to be taken as financial or investment advice. It's for entertainment and educational purposes only. I hope you enjoyed it.